Hey up, we're Guy and Sarah from Pedalling Past, the site that takes you back through time on a bike.
And today we are at the National Trust site of Fountains Abbey and Studley Royal, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The ride starts here and then we'll be riding to the iconic beauty spot of Brimham Rocks.
So the ride is 40 kilometres long or 25 miles. There are a few hills and we've made this one a mix of gravel and quiet country lanes. So it's best done on a hybrid or gravel bike, or a touring bike with fat tyres would be fine, or a mountain bike. But it's really, really easy to also make this route into a pure road loop. There's loos here, there's loos at Brimham Rocks, there's some really fascinating history from prehistoric through to medieval, as well as some stunning views that really make the few climbs that are on the route well worth it. So we hope you're going to hop on the tandem with us and have a fine time pedalling through some of the most beautiful parts of Yorkshire with Pedalling Past. And I have to say, feeling welcome already at the National Trust. Please lock your bikes here. If you'd like to borrow a lock, bump or repair kit, please just ask our team. And while getting into the site, you need to pay. I mean, it's a beautiful site, well worth it. The cafe in the courtyard there is free to get into, and the parking is free here as well, if you park up at the top. So you head out of Fountains Abbey to the west on the estate road, and then there's actually a little bridleway runoff down here, but it's very much a low traffic route. And there's nothing really more technical than this to contend with, so if you're careful on the road bike, you can use these shortcuts as well. And now we're dropping down to Studley Royal, which is at the bottom of the National Trust property. And there's another car park here, and this is where the water garden starts as well. So several places you can park, but you have to pay for that one. And we're just going right at the junction. And yeah, a bit of a climb to warm you up. Right, so, as I say, I've deliberately routed this around some of the quieter, prettier, but less well-known roads around here for the best biking experience. But that means it's definitely not a straight line, as you'll see from the GPX file. And what I'll do is I'll put the locations, spend a chat for each clip, up as a what three words descriptor. So download that What 3 Words app and you'll know exactly where I'm talking about within a 3-meter radius.
And these are the rides that we love to do, these adventures on forgotten roads that have a bit of gravel up the middle, maybe even some grass growing. And we find these wonderful hidden little treasures like Hog Hall. How beautiful is that?
And now we're coming through the little hamlet of Sawley. Little church there. And the Sawley Arms. So, you've had a bit of a climb up to this point, so nice to get a pub stop in. Although we've only been going a few kilometres, so that would be a bit early. It's there if you need it though. So, we're on the main Ripon. It's not a main road, it's a B road, but it's the Ripon to Paisley road, so it can be a little bit busy. And also, it's always windy and it's uphill, but we're only going to be on it for a few hundred metres before we turn off onto some gravel. And this is why being able to take the off-road gravel options is so fantastic. Beautiful old drove roads like this through forgotten woods. A wonderful way to cross the countryside and really see it up close. And this is what I find fascinating about these routes. I mean, you can see it's more or less buried grass now, but look closely and you can see these cobble and rock foundations. This used to be a proper road right across from, well, over by Knaresborough. Harrogate wouldn't have existed, Ilkley Way, and then all the way up into the Dales. But with an alignment like this, you've got to think prehistoric and Roman, haven't you? Especially with it being along a ridge top. I mean, beautiful views over the Vale of York to the moors beyond as well. Tea at Brimham, Mrs. K. And as Sarah just pointed out, well, it can get a bit muddy in winter because there's stone and rock underneath it. Basically, it's never going to be too impassable. You might need more of a clean afterwards.
And this is such a beautiful road that we're travelling. It's not the fastest way to get to Brimham Rocks, but it is certainly the most beautiful. We've been travelling past medieval farms and cottages and just things that you would not find in the car, and also that they're a bit too far to walk to. And this is definitely what pedalling past is about. It is those roads that are less well travelled, and we're finding these gems for you. And here is one of the examples of those beautiful cottages we were talking about, and also the wonderful scenery and flowers and trees.
Red kites, we've seen clouds of curlews milling about.
We have
got
the
lambs in
wildlife.
spring. It's not just history, it's natural history in such abundance around here. I mean, look at this old drove road here. You can see this sunken lane. You know, that's been worn this deep by hundreds and hundreds of years of feet and hooves, and that's what I love about these routes. And this farm here, not only is it a riding centre now, but it used to be one of the Grange farms. Fountains Abbey itself. It's a listed building. Well, the main old farmhouse is. And Fountains Abbey had lands all the way out as far as Malham, and it even had urban townhouses in Lincoln, York, Grimsby, all over the place, where they could sell the wool and just visiting archbishops and stuff. It really was a massive estate. Huge business concern was a monastery. Just beautiful. Not me, that meadow. Gorgeous out here. And from here you can see we're looking over Nidderdale. We're on the National Cycle Network and a couple of Yorkshire cycle routes, and the Way of the Roses route as well comes up from over there. But that's where we're heading next. Just down to Brimham Rocks. Because you're going for that cup of tea now, aren't you, Mrs. K?
Yes.
You were thinking of it then, that's why you weren't looking. Mind you can't help be distracted by that view. I mean, that's just beautiful.
And here we are coming into Brimham Rocks. This is the entrance, and you just pedal up towards the right. And
it's a bridleway up to the calf, so you just go through the car park. But doing cake.
Top trivia facts, any of you pub quizzers out there, Brimham Rocks has been used in some pop videos, and the first one was the Bee Gees' You Win Again, which featured the Stones in black and white, and then the second one was OMD with, was it Joan of Arc?
Yeah,
Joan of Arc.
So, as you can see, it really is a spectacular place, this gritstone outcropping of Brimham Rocks. I mean, there's other places it pops up around here, but this is, you know, amazing landscape. And, I mean, it's always super busy. It's a really iconic part of the Yorkshire landscape, and it even appears on the Yorkshire tea tins as well. And the antiquarians used to think a lot of these stones were to do with the Druids, or at least partially carved by them. So there's a Druid's writing desk, there's a Druid's cave, there's a Druid's circle, and someone suggested there was actually a stone circle here, but only one person did a map of it, and there's no trace of it now. And others named after sort of other things like,
well, things that they look like. So we've got a rhino, a tortoise,
an elephant.
That's right, and a boar's snout.
Yeah, amongst other things. And there is actually a cup and ring rock here as well, if you go and look for that, with 21 different cup markings, which is a lot. But it's just a beautiful place to, you know, park your bike up for a bit and explore. Amazing views. It's incredible up here on an evening. You can see barnhouse hunting up here, and it is an SSI. It's a special scientific interest, so there's loads of wildlife around here as well. Plus,
there's a nice little cafe further on up this bit of path, and you can get sandwiches, hot sandwiches, tea and coffee, ice creams, and there's loos, and you can top up your water as well.
And there's a little museum as well.
Oh, of course, yes, and a little museum, and I think there's a little gift shop.
Yeah, so thanks to the National Trust again for looking after Brimham Rocks for us. And the Bee Gees. And orchestral manoeuvres in the dark. Knitwear in that is terrible.
The good news is, once you're heading back from Ripon, pretty much downhill all the way. So you've earned your cake going up there, and now you enjoy the freewheel. But it might mean you want to pop a layer on, because it will be a bit chilly if you've been sat around for a while.
And this is Brimham Lodge, and it's a beautiful old farm that was part of the estate. Oh gosh, look at that little old cottage down there. And this is the
Fountains Abbey estate. There we are.
This was part of Fountains Abbey's estate.
And somewhere on it is a sundial.
Yes, we don't know where the sundial, but I found a car.
Now we're coming into the old village of Markington. First mention of this is as having a mill in 932, in 937. So well, and it's got a pub and a post office and everything else you might need for a quick stop off. That's a cracking old farm building. Beautiful villages around here. Kind of forget, you know, places like Ingerthorpe. There's that many of them. They almost don't stand out until you're coming around with a camera and going, yeah, this is a truly wonderful place to ride a bike. And now we're rolling up past Ingerthorpe Hall. It's just, you know, and to be honest, I just put this on the route because it was really pretty. Again, it's a bit of a long way around, but such a stunning bit as we roll under this willow. Why wouldn't you want to come this way? Now, I did say it was all downhill from Brimham. I was lying a bit, because there is a climb up from How Hill to Markington. Oh, and we're going to take that lane in a minute, Whitcliffe Lane. We're going to take that in a minute, but we're just having a quick detour, because hopefully through the trees, in a second, you'll see How Hill Tower. There we go. Right, let's try and find a proper gap. Anyway, it was built in 1719, that chapel, but it marks the site of an earlier medieval chapel that was actually a pilgrimage site.
Where?
That was actually a pilgrimage site, so you can see it up there on the hill. Funny place. It's actually quite big when you see it up close. But yeah, it was actually built as part of the landscaping and gardenings of Studley Royal when they did the beautiful landscape water gardens down there on the River Skell. This was kind of one of the first things they did as part of their grand vision for it. And if you head on that way, that takes you straight back to Fountains Abbey if you've had enough. But we're going to, like I say, loop back just down the lane there. We've got chance of a little detour to beautiful Elizabethan moated manor. And then we're just going to clip across the top of the cathedral city of Ripon. This is, again, another beautiful place to stop off. And then wind our way through the deer park of Studley Roger and back to Fountains Abbey itself. And don't worry that it's a no through road sign at the top. That just means for normal traffic. And to be fair, it gets a bit lumpy on it down here for a road bike, so definitely gravel bike or mountain bike, this route really. But when it means you get deserted lanes like this, well worth a bit of a buzz from the tyres. And of course, depending on the time of year, these hedgerows are just full of wildlife, butterflies, birds. In summer you've got the skylarks and the kites overhead. In spring you've got the lambs and the curlews. Wonderful area this. And we're now looping around the back of Fountains Abbey. But there's a detour off to the right if you want to take it. Just an out and back spur to Markenfield Hall, which is a beautiful moated manor house, but it can get quite overgrown in summer, can that, so we're going to skip that one today. To be honest, I've not tried it for a few years. Oh, old farm cat galloping down the road ahead. He's testament to how much lives in here. Push, 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 push. And now we're heading down the lane towards Ripon. Beautiful medieval cathedral city. And of course, we did a pedalling pass route from Boroughbridge, the old Roman town, to Ripon. And if you keep an eye out over these hedgerows, you'll be able to see the towers of the cathedral in a minute. Or at least you should be able to, anyway. I don't know if you can just see it over the hedgerow there. But obviously, you know, a lovely place to visit, spend some more time. I mean, you could, it's easily, it's only 25 miles long, but you could easily make this into a lovely day out. But for now, we're just gonna turn on the outskirts and head back through Studley Roger, up through the Deer Park, past St Mary's Church, and into back into Fountains Abbey.
So now we're riding through Kelworth Nature Reserve, which is along the banks of the River Skell, and I imagine it's absolutely full of all sorts of different sorts of insects and different things.
And now we're rolling over the River Skell on Sanctuary Way. And if you don't think you'll fit through the narrow bridge, there's a ford on the right, but you'll get your feet wet then, so jeopardy either way. And now we're just rolling back through the beautiful hamlet of Studley Roger. And at the end here, we roll into Fountains Abbey Deer Park. But tiny little place, but absolutely gorgeous. And here's the deer park itself.
Now we're just going past St Mary's Church, which is built in the Gothic Revival style. As you can see, it's extremely beautiful.
And you can see that spire right from the start of the drive in through the deer park. That's bang centre.
It was designed by William Burgess.
Yeah, William Burgess, he designed the whole of the Studley Royal Park.
And I met the Queen Mother here, probably when I was about 6 or 7 years old.
She was wearing a feathery hat.
She was wearing one of her very feathery hats, yes. Yes.
And off to the left.
Oh yes, that's it. I knew there was something else. And off to the left, unfortunately, I don't think we can see it. There is the beautiful ornamental lake, which again has another separate tea room and does ice creams.
And the Seven Bridges Walk.
And that's another how you would get to the Seven Bridges Walk. But all around here, there's great signposts like that to help you find your way. And this is the gate back through to Fountains Abbey.
And here we are at Fountains Abbey itself. That's the major tower of this beautiful Cistercian monastery, actually founded in 1132 after a riot at the Benedictine monastery of St Mary's in York. 13 monks kicked off about the order they were in, and they were sent up here to the banks of the River Skell by the Archbishop of York. And it was only a small stone church and wooden church to begin with, and then they began this, I think it burnt down, and then they began this epic building programme. This incredible World Heritage site that it is now. There's cloisters down there, which with local Nidderdale black marble in, which I didn't even know was a thing, but an amazing site. And then you've got the beautiful water gardens leading down into Studley Roger, Studley Royal. And yeah, I mean, you know, it's a World Heritage site for a reason, and you know, you could easily spend several hours just around this area. You know, so well worth a visit. Beautiful, isn't it?
Yes, I mean, also there's a really lovely walk called Seven Bridges.
Oh, of course, yeah,
If
yeah.
you're staying in some of the local cottages, because we did notice up at How Hill.
Yeah,
there
How
was
Hill.
some really nice looking holiday cottages. So there's a lovely walk called Seven Bridges.
And there's an ornamental lake there as well, and another tea room.
Yes.
Let's not forget.
Yes, yes. So lots of lovely things to look round. And of course, if you're wondering what happened to this place and why it's in ruins,
yeah.
also see Henry VIII.
The dissolution of the monasteries.
Yes.
Yeah. And after that, it was pulled apart quite dramatically.
And
it was vandalised a lot.
Yeah, particularly in Ripon and a lot of the surrounding area, you can see the reused
Borrowed
stones and architecture from this in other buildings.
But as you can see, there's still enough here to make it an incredible place. And I'm particularly fond of the loos, which are directly over the River Skell.
Yes,
so
that's true.
Very effective flushing system there. But but the cloisters and everything like that, it really is an absolutely beautiful site, and well worth the National Trust membership. But I definitely go for a membership. If you're following this channel, we're going to be going to loads of places like this. Go for the membership, because it's steep just getting in on a single ticket. I'll tell you that for now. But still worth it. And the tea rooms is particularly good.
Yes, I've just had the Victoria sponge, which I would very much recommend. It was scrummy.
So here we are, back at the visitor centre. We've got Fountains Abbey just peeping over the pasture there in the background. I really hope you've enjoyed this ride. We've certainly enjoyed riding around it. I mean, we're lucky enough to be local, but even so, Sarah's seen some lanes that she's never been down. And it was funny when I was putting it together, I was thinking, well, there's not that much on it, but it is actually loaded with some beautiful historic sites, some gorgeous gravel and back lane riding as well. I mean,
really nice.
I would say it is quite hilly. You start climbing, and certainly out to Brimham Rocks, it's a steady climb, but it's a lumpy climb all the way. So you will need a reasonable level of fitness for this one, and it has got quite a lot of gravel sections on it. I mean, there's nothing dangerous, nothing too mountain bikey, but just go steady, and it's not a beginner's or novice's ride. And I think there'd be a bit too much for young kids as well.
I would say you need to have some skills, some bike handling skills for some of the gravel.
But if you look at the map, you could see there's a very short loop you could take. If you just come out of Fountains Abbey, you can just go straight to How Hill and then round into Ripon and through the nature reserve and back through the deer park.
Yeah,
that'd be a short
we can highlight that on the map.
Yeah, and we'll highlight that. And obviously, if you've got any questions about it, get busy in the comments. That's what we like most, is talking to you guys and finding out what you like about our routes and where you think they could be improved or how we can help. Like I say, we're local, so we can help with accommodation, any kind of advice that might help you get the best out of this route. But I really do think, this yet again has proved that bikes really are a fantastic way to see the countryside from a heritage and natural history point of view. And heritage doesn't get much richer than being at a World Heritage Site from UNESCO, like here at Fountains Abbey. So massive thanks to you guys for watching. Please subscribe, click for notifications, give this video a thumbs up if you've liked it, because that'll help YouTube share it, and more people will join us here on the channel. But for now, we've been Guy and Sarah, and we hope you'll join us.
Sorry.
Sarah could do with more cake. She's had some, but she's had quite a week. She's had quite a week this week, bless her. So she's like, you know what? You can do all the talking at the end.
I'm really tired.
Come on, you can do it. We can do it. Okay. So we've been Guy and Sarah at Peddling Past, and we hope you'll join us for the next episode of Time Travel Gravel. That'll do. Thanks very much, folks. See you soon.